Right, Andy XL back again with another NFXL podcast, the second one looking at the 2026 NFL draft in terms of early positional rankings. Covered up quarterbacks in the first one. This time I'll have a look at running backs if my croaky voice will hold up. In this decade, it's seen a total of 124 running backs drafted. That's an average of 20.67 per draft. Round one has seen 7 taken, round two 14, round three 17, and there's been 38 in the first 5 rounds, or just over 6 per draft in the first 3 rounds. So here I'm going to just have a look at the top 7 running back prospects ahead of the 2025 college season. I'll expand on that as we go through the season, try and give a monthly update. So this is a September version as we open the season. In the 2025 draft, we saw a resurgence in terms of popularity of running backs in the draft. It had fallen out of favour before that. So could this be the Saquon Barkley effect? Look what he did last season. Now everybody's falling in love with running backs again. Looking at this class, I see 2 clear round one candidates for 2026 as the season opens. And like I say, there's been 7 taken in round one this decade. That's just over 1 per draft. But I've got 2 potential ones for round one in 2026. And the first one is Jeremiah Love, a junior out of Notre Dame. 1,362 scrimmage yards and 19 touchdowns to his name as a sophomore in 2024. Roughly 80% of these coming on the ground. The foundations are in place for Love to build on that in 2025. According to DraftBuzz, he measures in at 6 foot and 206 pounds and runs a 4.44.40. His progression was strong from freshman to sophomore, and if he continues to develop his skills to go with good instincts and speed, he could well secure a first round pick and be the first running back taken in 2026. He's kicked off this season with a modest 59 scrimmage yards and no scores against Miami, but he goes into the season as probably the leading candidate. Potentially the guy who's going to challenge him for that is Nick Singleton, a senior out of Penn State. Having had a 1,000-yard rushing season as a freshman in 2022, Singleton got back into the 1K club in 2024. He also had 375 receiving yards and 5 receiving TDs to go with his 12 on the ground. He's a 6 foot, 227-pound back with a 4.39.40 according to DraftBuzz. That makes him a bit bigger and a bit faster than Love. But Love may have a bit more development to come and may have better instincts than Singleton. But as we head into the college season, these two look set to vie for the running back 1 spot in the 2026 draft. So far this season, Singleton has had 132 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns in his opening 2 games. Just got one guy potentially in round 2, and when you bear in mind that the average is 2.33 in round 2, but overall 3.5 across the first 2 rounds. To have 3 across the first 2 rounds as I currently have, is about, I'm saying this class is about on average. This guy, the only one I've got as potential round 2 guy at this stage is Mackie Hughes, out of a junior out of Tulane from the Green Wave. Hughes has made the most of a lower level of competition to record around 1,400 yards on the ground as both a freshman and a sophomore, but went from 7 rushing touchdowns to 15 last season. But he's not as effective as a receiver as Love and Singleton. He's similar physically, though, at 5'11 and 210 with a 4.44.40. But he may lack some of the elite traits of those top 2 candidates. So round 2 might be where he should be targeted right now. And he's another that's off to a quietish start this season, registering just 30 yards and no touchdown against Oklahoma State. Round 3. So I've got 4 in here, and that would take us to 7 through the opening 3 rounds, which is just above average. We've seen 6 per draft is what I've stated at the beginning is what's happened this decade. So let's have a look at these guys. Jaden Ott, a senior out of Oklahoma. Ott moves over from California to be a senior in his senior year. He does so off the back of a junior year where he battled injury after a near 1,500 scrimmage yards and 14 touchdown sophomore campaign. So he comes in this season needing to show the injuries behind him in 2025 and to get back into the 1,000 yard club um, if he is to secure an early draft pick. Now, the knock on this is judged on his almost non-contribution in the first 2 games of the season. His stock could well be on the drift and on the slide. He could be slipping down draft boards unless he starts to produce, because he's almost done nothing in the first 2 games of the season for the Sooners. Fifth up, Catron Allen, a senior, Penn State. At 5'11 and 229 pounds, Allen may, to an extent, be the knuckles to Nick Singleton's Sonic at Penn State. He's got a 4.55 40, which is decent, but not as quick as the previous guys, as mentioned. As such, he shapes up as a downhill, pound the rock and wear the D down type. Many an NFL team will value that type highly, so Allen could well secure himself an early round selection if he can put up another 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown season in 2025. He's got off to a decent start this season, more than decent actually. 192 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns to his name through 2 games. So he's one to watch. Like I say, Penn State have got their own version of Sonic and Knuckles in Nick Singleton and Catron Allen, and they could well go early in this draft. Sixth one on my list is a senior out of Washington, Jonah Coleman. At 5'9", he's on the short side, but packs a 229-pound punch. And at his first 1,000-yard season for the Huskies, having transferred from Arizona prior to 2024. Another good up the middle, although his lack of breakaway speed could limit him to day 2 at best. Having said that, and however, he has certainly hit the ground running in 2025, with no fewer than 332 scrimmage yards and 7 touchdowns in his first 2 games of the campaign. Couldn't have got off to a much better start, albeit about questionable opposition, but the numbers are there. Finally, number 7, Justice Haynes, Jr. at Michigan. He transfers from Alabama to take over as the running back 1 in Michigan from Kalel Mullings. Having not put up anywhere near the numbers to the preceding 3 did last season, when he was the junior platoon partner at Bama, he will need a big season in 2025 to challenge to go before them in the draft. Again, a similar build to Mackie Hughes, but possibly slightly slower. He also seems more suited to an up-the-middle running than breaking to the outside, and as such may have limited appeal as a receiving back. He may be the best pass blocking back in this list thus far, though, which, NFL teams will look at that and say, thank you very much, we'll have some of that if you can do that and run. Bonus. And he joins Coleman in putting up big numbers early this season. 288 yards and 4 touchdowns in his first 2 games as a Wolverine. So now he's the main man, where he wasn't at Bama. He's shown up well in the first 2 games. So there'll be my 7 that I put up early this season. Like I say, as the season progresses, I try and lengthen these lists out a bit. But that's a very quick look at the early season running back picture for the 2026 draft. So Jeremiah Love and Nick Singleton are probably the 2 names that stand out. Catron Allen's off to a good start, as is Jonah Coleman and Justice Haynes. Jaden he's not shown his over that injury yet and needs to. Mackie Hughes, quiet start, needs to do more, especially at a small school like Tulane. Right, just over 9 minutes to cover running backs. That wasn't too bad. So next up will be the wide receivers. So I'll come back with that one very soon.